What's up, everybody? I'm Ben Volin. Welcome to another Boston Globe Sports Report podcast edition. Today is Wednesday, July 29th. It's a rainy day in Boston. The Patriots are off today, and I thought that would give us a perfect opportunity to talk about the start of Patriots training camp. It's been 4 days. They haven't done a whole lot. They haven't put on the pads yet. It's been kind of a continuation of the offseason program. Yet even still, it's been a pretty interesting start to camp for a team that wasn't supposed to have a lot of drama here coming off a Super Bowl run. So let's get into a few of the stories that have been certainly interesting and percolating around Foxborough here for the first 4 days of training camp. My number one story is with cornerback Christian Gonzalez, and I wrote this for BostonGlobe.com on Wednesday, and it'll be in Thursday's paper, but it is really hard not to be impressed with Christian Gonzalez, and not necessarily with his play on the field so far, which has been great, but it's really the way he's held himself and carried himself and his comportment amid a tricky negotiation that he's undergoing with the Patriots right now. A player in Christian Gonzalez's situation, a superstar player who's up for a contract negotiation, oftentimes will hold in this spot. He'll show up to camp, but he'll come up with reasons not to participate until the contract gets resolved, a hamstring injury or a groin or just some reason. And you have to give Gonzalez a lot of credit. He was out there from day one, taking all his usual reps, lining up against A.J. Brown, playing outside slot, doing, all the practice reps and everything he would normally do. Even though, frankly, I think he's taking a big risk, and I don't know if I would be doing what he would be doing. One bad cut, and you suffer an injury, and there goes the contract negotiation. So he's done everything that the team could have asked of him and more, and you haven't heard a peep from him. He spoke to the media on Tuesday and refused to engage in any talk about the contract, spoke very highly of Robert Kraft, and not to mention Christian Gonzalez is doing all of this while his owner, Robert Kraft, called him out on Saturday and dropped a nugget in the media that the Patriots had already offered Christian Gonzalez the highest paid contract in NFL history for a cornerback in NFL history, a comment that serves no purpose other than to make Gonzalez look bad and to kind of shame him into accepting whatever offers on the table. I thought it was noteworthy that during Tuesday's practice, right before Gonzalez was set to speak with the media, Robert Kraft happened to make his way out to the practice field and found Christian Gonzalez on the sideline and had a quick chat with him. I hope it was an apology, because I thought Kraft was really speaking out of turn when he put Gonzalez on blast with his comment like that. And Gonzalez has been nothing but classy, doing nothing but what the team has asked for him. And if ever there were a guy who deserved a top contract, it is Christian Gonzalez. He's an elite player at a position of one of the top positions in the NFL, shutdown cornerback. He's only 24 years old. He's been a great Patriot. He's done a lot in the community for this team. What more could you ask for from a player? The Patriots really should lock him up, and you have to be impressed with the way that Christian Gonzalez has comported himself. Especially, he says on Thursday when the pads come on for the first time, he's going to be out there as well. All right, that leads me to my number two story of training camp, kind of related. The Patriots better get this deal done soon with Christian Gonzalez for several reasons. One, look, the more you wait, the more expensive it's going to be. Meaning, if you don't get it done this offseason, the same issues are going to crop up again next year, except the contract's only going to cost more. The market's only going to move further ahead. We've already seen Denzel Ward get a contract slightly ahead of the record. It's now $31.1 million per year. I think Gonzalez and Devon Witherspoon are both worthy of that, and then some. So the more you wait, it just upsets the players. The locker room is watching. I remember with the Bengals, Jamar Chase, they made him wait a year when he saw all the other receivers getting their contracts. And all it does is just engender bitter feelings between the team and the player. So I think that's one reason they need to get the Christian Gonzalez deal done soon. Just it's going to get more expensive. But also, Drake May is watching, and Drake May is coming up next year. So, as a quarterback, the top position, Drake May is potentially looking at a contract of $70+ million per year, just a mega deal. And Drake May has probably as much right to negotiate for that as any quarterback, having already his second season been an MVP finalist and a Super Bowl runner-up. So, Drake May is seeing how this negotiation goes, and you can bet that he's taking notes to see how the organization is handling Christian Gonzalez, how they're treating him, if any comments are made publicly. So Drake May is watching. And, if you're the Patriots, you don't want to have to deal with Christian Gonzalez and Drake May next year. That's a lot of cash outlay for two players in one offseason. Get Christian Gonzalez done now so you can worry about Drake May next year. But I just think it really behooves the Patriots not to stretch this out. Don't make Christian Gonzalez play this year on his rookie deal. Get the deal done, make everyone happy, and move on. Number 3 story here with the Patriots in training camp. There's a crunch in the wide receiver room now that they've brought A.J. Brown in. They've got really 7 guys for 6 spots. And one thing has become just abundantly clear here through the first 4 days of camp. Kayshon Boutte needs to be on this team. I thought it was, we saw him in the offseason. He stayed away from some offseason activities. He had some stuff on social media where I think he, maybe changed his team name, or, he was clearly, there were rumors that the Patriots were floating him as a trade candidate. Whatever was going on in the offseason, like, the Patriots need to put an end to it. Kayshon Boutte is coming off a career year. He caught, 6 or 7 touchdowns, was that great deep threat. And so far through 4 days of camp, he's the only guy out there making plays, and it's consistent every day. A 50-yard bomb over the top, a sliding 25-yard catch over the middle. Kayshon Boutte has been phenomenal. He's a great deep threat. He's insurance in case A.J. Brown's knee flares up or has some other injury. To me, like, it should come down to, well, we know there are 3 players who are locks. A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs, and Mac Hollins. They're locks. I tend to think Kyle Williams is a lock just because he was a 3rd-round pick last year and showcased some really impressive breakaway speed. I just don't think, even if he's not maybe one of the top 6 receivers, I just don't know if the Patriots are ready to move on from that. And then it comes down to Boutte, Pop Douglas, and Efton Chisholm. And like I said, I think Boutte's got to be on this team, and it should come down to Pop Douglas and Efton Chisholm. And I would lean towards keeping Chisholm just because he's only in his 2nd year and you have a longer runway with developing him. And he's cheaper, too. He's about $3 million cheaper, $2 to $3 million cheaper than Pop Douglas this year. So I know there was all this talk about Boutte being on the outs with the Patriots and maybe a trade candidate or maybe released. They've got to keep him. And I got to think that maybe Pop Douglas, who has become a fan favorite, has developed into a decent little player here for the Patriots. I just think entering his contract year, if there's got to be an odd man out, I would lean towards him with maybe Efton Chisholm, the other guy. Maybe someone gets hurt in training camp and has to go on IR, and maybe that's a way to save all 7 guys. But Kayshon Boutte has to be on this team. Finally, one last topic that is very unique, an unexpected start to training camp, an unexpected kind of mystery here for the Patriots with their 2nd-round pick, outside linebacker Gabe Jacas out of Illinois. Just a really interesting story in that here we were last week, training camp is starting, and he was still not signed under contract, his rookie contract. And in the old days, pre-2011, rookie holdouts were common, but in the last 15 years since they changed the rookie draft rules and all the contracts are slotted, there aren't holdouts anymore. It's really designed to not have holdouts and players sign as soon as the draft ends, pretty much. And so of 257 draft picks to sign, Gabe Jacas was number 256. He finally signed his contract on Sunday on the 2nd day of camp. They put him on the non-football injury list. All we know is that Mike Vrabel in the spring said that he had, Jacas had some sort of procedure. And credit to Mike Reese from ESPN, first reported that it was some sort of knee injury. Pretty interesting because usually when a player has an injury after the draft, like usually the teams draft the player knowing about the injury. But the fact that there was a holdup, the fact that Jacas was out for all of spring and not even at the facility, the Patriots wouldn't give him a standard participation agreement to practice, even though he wasn't under contract, was all very unusual, very suspicious. We finally see the end result of it when Jacas signed his contract on Sunday. I was able to obtain a copy of his contract via an NFL source. And what's interesting is that Jacas still got his full money. So credit to him and the Patriots. They still gave him a 4-year deal worth $8.66 million, which is what he was set to make. And it came with $6.95 guaranteed. That's the first 3 years are totally guaranteed, and then a portion of the 4th year. So that's what his draft slot would have given him. So he got his money, but it came with an injury waiver, which is very unique for draft picks because, like I said, they're either drafted with a known injury or they fall in the draft because of the injury and there's not guaranteed money, so you don't even need the waiver. But basically, if Jacas injures that left knee and suffers the same injury over the next 3 years, the Patriots can void the contract and get out of the contract and void all the guarantees. And it doesn't expire until March of 2029. So it really covers the first 3 years of his 4-year deal. And as part of the injury waiver, this is some of the language. Left knee large osteochondral defect and medial meniscus tear, as described by Dr. Michael Banfi's May 11th, 2026 evaluation and May 12, 2026 operative report. So that's saying that Dr. Michael Banfi, who's based out in Los Angeles, he's actually a Rams team doctor. He determined that there was a meniscus tear and this osteochondral defect, and then Jacas had surgery on May 12th. The timing is interesting because the Patriots rookie minicamp is May 8th through 10th. May 11th, Jacas has the medical visit, and May 12th, he has the surgery. So, again, this is just me speculating trying to put pieces together, but it sounds like Jacas showed up to Patriots rookie minicamp. The doctors looked at him. He must have had some sort of torn meniscus, and then they sent him out and they found this other damage. And I'm not a doctor, so I spoke with a former NFL team doctor this past week just to get his take on it. And while I thought the meniscus tear was what was interesting, he said, no, that's something that, it happens all the time, and players play through it and come back through it. He said the osteochondral defect is what got his attention, and he said it's kind of like a pothole in the knee, and it kind of develops over time, and it's something that it causes swelling, and your knee needs to be drained, and it can prevent players from, reaching top speeds, and it can really hurt them when they're trying to run and inhibit their ability to run and be explosive, and it can be an injury that it's often degenerative, and it can shorten a player's career. So the presence of the injury waiver sure gives the impression that the Patriots were caught off guard by this injury. And to their credit, I spoke with 2 other teams that at the Combine said there was zero sign of an injury, of a knee injury in their report for Gabe Jacas at the Combine. So it seems everyone in the NFL missed this, but then he may have torn his meniscus, and as they were looking closer, they said, wow, you have this little chip, this osteochondral defect in your knee. And so the Patriots were able to get this injury waiver, and they traded up and used their 55th pick on a player where, potentially now has a degenerative knee injury that could, inhibit how long he plays in the NFL. So Jacas, the Patriots still remain very positive and optimistic about what he can bring to the team this year. We don't know when he's going to be back on the field. He's currently on the non-football injury list, kind of running off to the side. The Patriots are taking it very slowly with Jacas and are not, revealing too much right now. I would think that he'll be on the field, and especially since, he got his full contract and all his guarantees, I would think the Patriots are confident that he'll be on the field, in relative short order this year. But tough way to start your NFL career, and definitely looks like the Patriots discovered this tough knee injury well after drafting a kid with the 2nd-round pick. So an interesting start to Patriots training camp. No question. All right, that about wraps it up from here. I'm Ben Volin. This has been the Boston Globe Sports Report podcast edition. We're going to have a lot more of these throughout training camp and throughout the football season. We'll catch you guys next time.